Welcome, you're listening to Constructing Mindsets. I'm your host, Vincent Saunders. This is the podcast that shines a good light on the construction industry. Whether you're on the tools, in the office, or supporting others behind the scenes, we are hearing from the people who are making this a better place to work and how they are doing it. Please consider subscribing or sharing this story. Thanks for joining us on this one. Let's get into the episode. On Constructing Mindsets, we've got Andrew Prince, residential install foreman for kitchen company or kitchen manufacturer Greenmount SBs. Good evening, Andrew. How you doing?
Hey, Vinny. Not too bad. How are you, buddy? You good?
Yeah, good, mate. Good. It's been a long time since I kind of seen you in person or online. Yeah, how's things going with you at the moment, and what have you been up to?
Yeah, it's good, man. Now I've been keeping busy. Like we said before, 2 kids and whatnot, so keeping me busy outside of work, and work's picked up a bit now as well, so it's we're keeping busy with that. I'm still the same place, like you said, yeah, for Greenmount Interiors, yeah, so it's mainly kitchens and a bit of commercial stuff and whatnot, so yeah, it's good.
Yeah, so you're on the install on site, helping the team install kitchens, sort of commercial kitchens. When I worked with you, you were more on the, I guess, managing the installs of the units and things. I guess we'll probably touch on that, but I guess you're obviously not from New Zealand. Where are you originating from?
No, from Manchester in England, so that was yeah,
Nice.
I've been here for maybe, I think it's 15 years now. I think it's coming up 16 years in March. So yes, it's flown by, really. Yeah.
And how did you end up getting here? Or what brought you to New Zealand when you first got here?
So I met my now wife, Lucy, back in England, and then she was moving over and her family were moving over. So we'd been going out for maybe a year or 2, I think. And I just wanted to get out and see the world and have a bit of a change. So yeah, I sort of followed her over here and I've not left her. So yeah, that's 16 years ago now. But yeah, it's good.
Oh yeah, nice. And when you got here, did you have a background in sort of manufacturing or installing? Sort of how did you get into sort of the trade or the trade that you're in at the moment?
Yeah, so I think I was 26 when I came over here. So I left school at 16. Wanted to be a PE teacher. Didn't really consider joinery or whatever. So I went to college for maybe 6 months, and then I had a bit of a family tragedy and whatnot. So it sort of sent me in a different direction. So college really didn't work out. So I left and went to work at a place where my uncle and one of my cousins worked, shop fitting. So I was there for maybe a year or 2. I didn't have an apprenticeship at the time, so I was shop fitting, traveling around the country, yeah, just learning different things. I was obviously young at the time. I was 16. I carried on doing that. I enjoyed that, but then I moved on from there looking for an apprenticeship, and I couldn't find one straight away. So I got a job fitting office fit outs. That was for a year as well. So I did that for a year, traveling around England, Ireland, Scotland, all around the UK. And then I managed to line up an apprenticeship, and I was probably about 17, 18, I think I was then, maybe 18, 19, I think I was. So it was a little bit later probably. And I managed to get an apprenticeship then. So that was with a place called Arts Construction, which was a real old school traditional job, all solid timber, making furniture and house fit out, stairs, windows, roofs, the lot. So I was really lucky getting into that, and I was there for maybe 8 years. That's where I did my apprenticeship, and yeah, I was there for a good time, and I learned a lot of stuff off a lot of really old guys there who had been in the business for 50 years, yeah, 60 years, some of them, yeah, old guys there. And then that's when I made the move over to New Zealand. Then just thought I'd come over and see what's happening over this side of the world.
Yeah, and I guess what drew you to that side of the industry, sort of that joinery, sort of more, I guess, that traditional carpentry sort of route?
Like it was yesterday when I first walked in the workshop, because I'd obviously been in the shop fitting game and on the sites, and you know what it's like working on these commercial sites, bit crazy and everything's everywhere. And then with the office fit outs, the same sort of thing. And then I came into this it was in like an old mill, an old converted mill, an old brick mill. Yeah. And then I walked in there and it was unbelievable. It was all the roofs were all set up. They used to build them in the workshop, and they had like the staircases people were making. It was like a different world down there. It was unbelievable. So yeah, I don't know what it was. It was something. It was a bit romantic, I think, something about that, and it just clicked then. And that's when I loved it, and I thought that's what I want to do. So yeah, that got me right into the joinery game then.
Yeah.
So I was really lucky having that, I think.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice. And then, yeah, kind of sounds, yeah, I don't know if there'd be too many places that would do it like that anymore. A bit more machines.
Good way. I think its technology's moved on a lot as well. Some ways it's sad because you sort of lose that sort of skills coming through. But then in other ways, the technologies, looking on the positive, the technology speeds it up a lot, and you can do probably a lot more what you couldn't do then in the time frame. So yeah, it's good.
Kind of. All right. So then you made the move to New Zealand and continued down that joinery route there. Sort of what was a bit of a difference between sort of working in the UK and compared to what we were doing in New Zealand at the time?
Obviously, the type of work, and then I came back into the shop fitting game over here, and I remember the shop fitting. It was a lot. I don't know if it was because such time had passed between when I had not done shop fitting, so it was maybe 8 years or something before I came back into it, and I was more on the bench. I wasn't out on site then. But yeah, I think it was that. I think there was a lot more technology. Like I remember going into, and they had the CNC and whatnot, and I'd not really never dealt with CNCs before. It would always hand tools and whatnot, and I'd never really seen that. So that was really new, and the edge banders and all that new kind of stuff, which was really, yeah, it was good as well. It wasn't a bad thing. It was just learning something different, I think. So yeah, it was good.
I guess to paint a picture for somebody who's going to go out and buy a kitchen, like what does that kind of look like for somebody, in a very, just a very simple sense, like they call someone up, someone comes around and does a site measure, you agree a design, sort of how does that process flow?
So what happens is they normally comes in with an initial, unless it's a recommendation, someone come in and let us know what they want. And we're in the world of technology now, so Pinterest has got a million suggestions, and then so we have in-house designers. They'll sit down with the customer and they'll go through what's feasible and what's not feasible, and they'll have a rough idea of the space and whatnot. So then we can sort of work out what's needed. Then it'll be a site measure. Then we'll measure it and see if it can be done. Then it will go from there. Obviously, the sales side of it and whatnot, so they get the quotes to them, and then it's agreed. And then it will get drafted up by the designer. It will go to the CAD team, who will do the working drawings, the shop drawings, if you will. Then that will go through to the CNCs or they make shop drawings from it. With Greenmount, it's quite a big manufacturing company, Greenmount, so that they've got a lot of technology in the CNCs. So they'll go through, yeah, and then that'll get made that side of it, and then it will go through to the cabinet shop, and then they'll start making it, and yeah, and that's it really. And then the client will come in and we'll stage it, and they'll see what's happening, and then yeah, that's it really. Once it's made, we're going to install it.
So is everything done, like nothing's really hand cut?
We do a lot of different type of kitchens. We'll do like group home builders and whatnot, which are a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them are quite similar. So they're done on yeah, they're quite stock standard for us then. They're like our bread and butter. So a lot of them are quite similar. As you know, a lot of them are quite similar. So they'll go for it. Got to sort of you see the same faces, so you sort of that's just building up over time. That and you're talking to each other and whatnot. But I think again, this has been a key thing throughout your podcast. What I've been listening to is communication, and I don't think you can overestimate it. I honestly don't think that you can. Construction, really. There's a lot of people probably going to roll their eyes when I say this, but I mean, it can be quite basic in a way. I mean, you've just got to communicate. I think if communication breaks down, you've lost it all. So you've just got to try and get on with everyone, and it's not easy. I mean, we're human. Sometimes you're gonna meet someone who you don't like, or someone who's having a bad day, and it's a bit funny or whatever the atmosphere. But you've just got to try and get on with them and be honest. I think that's the other thing is honesty. You got to know if you can't do something and you got limitations. If look, mate, I can't get my pipes. Your pipe's not going to get through that. It's not going to work. We need to change it to this, or look, I know you can't do it that way. I can maybe do this. I think you've just got to sort of communicate and be honest with each other, And it sounds so simple, and it is so simple, but I mean, sometimes it's just blown out of all proportion and it doesn't work. But most things can be worked through, I feel. So yeah, just talking and communicating with people, I think, and being honest. Yeah, and that'll build up the relationship.
What's your kind of go-to communication?
Just try and don't try and be too heavy with everything, I think. I mean, you just, and also be understanding. Some people are going through, they might be having a nightmare on their part of the job, and you come along screaming, saying, "Man, what have you done? I'm working here," or whatever, and he's having a nightmare. So you've just got to be understanding, I think. So yeah, that's it. Try and make it as light-hearted as you can, I feel. We're all there to work.
You're all that like yeah, like you're either finishing a job or a house.
I think if you've done it for a while, you sort of, like, I mean, there's no way I could do a plumber's job or Sparky's job at all, but I mean, you sort of get a bit of a gist on what they're doing and where they're up to and whatnot. So on all the other trades, so you can sort of see what they need or what you need to be doing for them. So I think, yeah, it's a bit of understanding what they want and trying to work with each other. Because I know sometimes that certain trades will clash, but it doesn't really happen. And that's another thing I've noticed about New Zealand. Yeah, there's not as much aggro on site of what I've seen. I've not really seen much. I've seen a little bit, but not too much. I wouldn't say it's chilled out, but it's not as yeah, it's not aggro, which is good. Yeah, yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, that's very interesting. Funny. All right. Well, yeah. What can
Well,
you
it's
think
funny
of
you
a
say
couple of
that. I was
moments that have made you
not
proud in
yesterday,
your
the day
career so
before.
far?
What day are we on? Sunday, I think it was. I was talking to one of my old apprentices from Arch, and yeah, he was with me right through his apprenticeship, and then he came out of his time, and he set up his own business now in England, and he's doing really well. He's opened up a factories making custom cabinetry and whatnot. He started doing radiator covers, and then he's built it up to custom cabinetries, kitchens, doing all sorts of stuff. So yeah, he's got a factory of maybe about 8 guys now, and he's going to open a new one. So just talking to him the other day, and he said, yeah, we learned a lot and whatnot, do where we were. Yeah, teaching him, made me really proud that the other day, thinking about that. So that's one thing, passing what I know on, which is good. That's a really proud moment.
And for any
Yeah,
experiences that
I
remind you
think
why you first got into the industry?
I think a lot of it is when I finish a big job, if it's a high-end kitchen or if we're doing something commercial or whatever, and you stand back and you look at the job, that's why you do it. You see, especially when you work in private jobs and you're in someone's house or home rather, and you're there and they come in, and it's always a kitchen's always a big part of the house reno. And I mean, when you see people and the designers nailed the brief for us, and then the cabinetry team and we've done the install and we're at the end of the process, which is sometimes a good thing and sometimes it's a struggle. But when we get the job done and it's over the line and the customer's happy and you can stand back and look at it, I think that's why we do it. I think that's why we all do it really in construction. I think we want to see an end product. And when you see that end product, that's why. Yeah. So I think that's why.
You're putting something out there and it's done.
Yeah.
You've done what you needed to. Hopefully everyone's happy at the end of the
Yeah.
day,
Yeah.
and
That's it. What did they
it's out
say?
there to make a difference
Pleasure
and
in the
make a
job
difference in
puts
someone's
perfection
life.
in the work, I think. So yeah, that's it. I think if you're enjoying what you're doing, you're gonna end up with a good result. So yeah, that's it. I think that's the one, the end result.
Just looking ahead for yourself, sort of what, either maybe for you or maybe the industry, sort of what are your dreams for the industry?
Yeah, that was a tough one. That I think, especially in New Zealand. I mean, I'm just to hope that obviously the work's picking up as well. Well, it is for us anyway, and there's a lot more coming through. So it's just good. It's really interesting to see from my point of view, coming from England to New Zealand in the last 15 years. I was talking about this the other day as well. Actually, it's unbelievable how much it's changed, especially in Auckland, where I'm based. It's unbelievable. Some of the buildings which have gone up are really impressive. So I just hope that yeah, it keeps going like that, and with the new technology that's coming through, that the builds and whatnot keep getting interesting, and there's long may it continue. I think is the thing, really. I think that it keeps growing the way it does. It's good to see. And sorry, Vincent. Another thing was a thing I'd like apprentices. I'm a real obviously with, like I said before, when I was at Arch, having a couple of apprentices coming through, teaching those guys. I just see the value in it, and I see like what Liam's doing back home now. That to go on when you to pass on your knowledge to go on and when they do it. So it's really I'm really hopeful for the apprentices, especially at the moment, because I think it is an aging workforce, I think, when you look around, but I also see a lot of young lads coming through, and it's really good to see, and passionate ones as well. Not one because I think construction sometimes has a bit of a what's the word? Has a bit of a trying to think of a word for it. A reputation for people falling into construction, I think, and I can see that happening sometimes. They go into the labouring jobs and work their way up. But I mean, uh, for these kids who are apprentices, if anyone's listening, just stick with it, man, because it's a good trade. So I'm really hopeful that we get some good apprentices coming through because yeah, we'll need them as well. So, but I think in the future maybe that'll be something I'd probably look into because I really enjoy that side of it as well. So it's really
Okay.
rewarding, I think. Yeah.
So the people that are coming to work with you, do they already have a background in
Yeah,
joinery?
some really good installers there, and they've been doing it. They from other companies doing the same thing. So yeah, we haven't had anyone really we've had to train up as such. But yeah, they're tradesmen. Yeah. I mean, there's always going to be the deadline looming, always. I think you've just got to try and navigate it the best you can. But like I said before, I think just communicating, I think if everyone communicates with each other and just is a bit, is understanding of what the other people are going through inside and outside of work, because everyone's got a life out of work. So yeah, I think yeah, that's the thing I'd say. Yeah.
Yeah, like I say this every time, but yeah, communication is the number one thing that pops up from people that I've had on this podcast that, they're either a development manager, a project manager, a site
Yeah.
manager, they're always talking about communications.
I don't want to say what everyone else is saying, but it's unavoidable because that's how important it is. It's the same like with sport, or like I always use sport as example as well. If you don't talk in sport, like my sport's football, if you don't talk in that, then it's not going to work. And it's the same with construction, same with anything really. I think you just got to be speaking. So yeah,
No, fair enough. I don't know. I'll just ask you the question here. You briefly touched on stress was a big factor that you see in the industry. Sort of, how do you deal with that stress, or sort of, do you have a couple tips for people during your day if there's a stressful situation that pops?
I think you've got to don't be afraid. This is what I learned my apprenticeship, and that's why I struggled with it at the start. And that's what I learned. Don't be afraid to lean on people who know certain things, and don't. Nobody knows everything. You could be doing this for 100 years or 1,000 years, and you still wouldn't learn. You still wouldn't know everything. So you don't be afraid to stand back and think, "Oh, how do I do this?" or "What's the best way of doing that?" Or if you have got an idea, ask on how you do it. So yeah, I think lean on people, and then also just try and step back, even while you're on the job, while you're doing it. Just try and step back, even if it's 5 minutes. Just step back, no matter how rushed you are. It's the shop's opening, you got to get it ready, or this kitchen's got to be ready now. Just step back, take 5 minutes, and have a think about because it's not the end of the world. It's not going to be the end of the world, and it's sometimes it feels like it. I know, trust me, but it's not. So yeah, I think just lean on people as well and ask them. I'd say is the one. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. No, fair enough. All right. Well, we're coming to the end, Andrew. Quick fire round of questions for you. So I've got five quick fire rounds, or five questions for you.
English tea all day.
Coffee? Are you coffee or tea drinker? You're the
That's
first
me. I'm the
person.
tea
You're the
man.
first person that said tea. I wondered if you were going to be the first person to say tea. All right. A couple more questions and then we're done. Biggest mindset tip for people in the construction industry?
To stay positive, and like I said, if something goes wrong, it's not the end of the world. Just yeah, keep going. You'll find a way. Yeah, that's the one.
Nice. One word to describe a great crew or a team member that you've worked with.
One word.
Yeah.
Entertaining, I'd say. Yeah,
Entertain. Okay.
yeah.
And favorite way to unwind at the end of a long day?
I'd probably come home and just do a little bit down here, I think. A little bit of
Yeah.
exercise or whatnot. Yeah. And then go and eat
Nice.
some chocolate.
Nice. And what's one thing you wish more people knew or understood about the construction industry, or your industry in particular?
That it can be a fun place, that it can be a fun place. Yeah, it's not all doom and gloom and stress and wolf whistles and that. It can be a fun place. Yeah, it can be enjoyable. Yeah, a
Oh,
lot of the
nice.
time.
Yeah, no, I think that's good
Yeah,
actually. Yeah, because I think a lot of people, yeah, that is a little bit overlooked. But yeah, you do. There are moments there where it's stressful and can be overwhelming. But at the end of the day, you're in a position where you're talking to a lot of different people, a lot of different perspectives in life, a lot of different personalities.
yeah,
And yeah, you might not get that in a normal office job or another industry, I
yeah,
think.
yeah.
And
No,
cool.
it's good
And
though. It is good.
yeah, any final thoughts or words from you, Andrew? Thanks for coming on and being a part of it. Anything you wanted to touch on before we end it?
I would say like I touched on before with the stress and struggling to talk to people. I know it's everywhere now. I know it's everywhere, and they've got the mates in construction, and you hear it, and when you're going through it, it's hard. People say you've got to talk, and you hear it all the time, and people still don't. I know they don't. I've been one of those people. It's really hard. Whether it's your partner, in my case, was a doctor, which was really hard to go and speak to. But once you've done it, it lifts such a weight. So if anyone out there is struggling with work or what, even if it's out of work and you've still got to go to work and whatnot, I know what it's like. So yeah, just like I said before, it does get better. So just yeah, keep your chin up and make sure you talk to someone, anybody. So yeah, that's what I'd say. And I know it's everywhere now, and it's a thing. Uh, it's well documented now, but I wouldn't want it to lose the message through it being diluted because there's so much of it. But it really is important. Just yeah, if you're struggling, talk to someone. Definitely.
Since we're on this topic, maybe was there something in you that changed after you talked to, you talked about what you were going through? Was there sort of, how did it feel afterwards for you?
Definitely. And again, cliche, like I said before, it sounds it, but it was a weight lifted. So what it was, I know it's ending now, but just for if there is anyone listening, I went to the doctors, told I was stressed out and it was really hard and I was really struggling and work was a part of it. But the way the doctor explained it is a chemical imbalance, which really helped me because I always thought it was something I was doing. I wasn't doing enough or I was doing too much. I always thought it was just the job or it was stuff going on out of work. But when she explained it that way, it sort of took it off me as though it was still me, but it wasn't like anything I was doing as such. It was the chemical side of it, which really helped me understand it and thought, well, I can't help it. It is what it is. You balance it with your diet and your exercise and whatnot. So a lot of the time, if you're beating yourself up and thinking, oh, I need to do a bit more, or I'm doing too much, or whatnot, it might be that. There's a lot of different reasons why we feel like we do. So just speak to someone. Yeah, like the mates in construction. I've never actually spoke to those guys, but I know they have a lot of trained people who do that, and there's a lot of professionals out there. Or even if it's just your mate over a cup of tea or a beer or whatever, coffee, sorry, or whatever, just talk to someone. Definitely, don't let it get to a point where you feel you can't talk because there is always a point where you can do. So yeah, that's it. And I know it's ending on a bit of a heavy note, but I just want to get it out there that it gets better and it's positive.
Yeah, no, I think
Yeah,
that's I think it's a good note to end on, it's yeah, everyone's human and everyone is made up of different things and
yeah,
what might work for you, might work for somebody else that's listening out there and they might have not known about, different chemical imbalances in our body and again, one thing might work for somebody and might not work for another. So having those conversations just to open the door slightly is super important. Oh, I really appreciate your time, Andrew. It was great. I'm so happy you're keeping well up there in Auckland, and
I'll,
yeah, if people want to get in touch with Andrew Prince, where can they get in touch with you?
yeah. So we obviously work at Greenlight Interior, so they can get in touch with me that way, or LinkedIn, which I try and be good on LinkedIn, but I'm not as good as I should be. I should get the photos up there, but yeah, that's probably a good place for anyone in the workscape. I'd say find me on there if they want. Yeah,
Cool. No, awesome. Well, I think we'll close there, Andrew. Thanks again.
good stuff. All right, Vincent.
That's it for today's episode of Constructing Mindsets. Remember, every conversation is a chance to shift the culture of construction. Subscriptions and reviews are always appreciated. Until next time, take care and keep showing up with good energy. Let's keep building the kind of industry we want to be a part of.